Hi, my name is DJ, and this is just kind of the story of my journey in opening a full-time eBay business. And so, what I want to do is do these little videos just to give an update about how my eBay business is going. As I said in a previous video, I recently moved from Canada to Texas and decided that now was the time to go full time into eBay. And I love doing it. It's a hobby and a passion of mine, but I'm also working to make this a full time business. And so I wanted to make these videos just to document this journey that I'm on. And so today, what I wanted to do was just talk a little bit about starting up eBay as a business in Texas. And so right now, as of March 22nd, 2018, I'm in week 4 of my startup. And so week 1 mainly consisted of just getting everything set up. There was a lot that I had to do in order to transfer my store from Canada to the United States. And so that took quite a bit of time. I drove from Canada to the United States with all my inventory. And so when I arrived where I am now, I had to unpack everything, and immediately I wanted to get my business going because that would bring in some money. And so some things that I worked on in week 1 was first just relisting all my items. At the time, I had about 215 items when I started, when I left Canada and I started up here in the United States. So I had about 215 items, and I had to go through and relist everything. And the reason why I had to relist everything was for U.S. postage. And so I sat down at a desk. I had a scale right by me, and I went through each of my totes. I keep my inventory in totes, and I'll show a video about that later at some point. But and I had to reweigh all my articles of clothing, and make sure that they were under. I believe here it's 16 ounces, 1 pound for first class mail. And had to, if they weighed over 16 ounces, then I had to weigh it and figure out if it would fit in a padded flat rate envelope, figure out if how it was going to go priority by size and weight. And so it took about 4 days for me to relist 215 items. And that's on top of trying to get established here in Texas. And so some of the steps I had to do in moving my moving my store here to Texas was I had to get a new PayPal account. I had a Canadian PayPal, and so I had to open up a US PayPal. And so basically what that is, it's juggling bank accounts. And so I opened up a second U.S. bank account. I already had a U.S. bank account, but that was already linked to my Canadian account. And so I opened up another account at the same bank and linked that to my new PayPal. And so the reason why I had to change PayPals was because if I were to ever print shipping labels from a Canadian PayPal, it only has Canadian options. It doesn't have the US options. And so if I ever did UPS or whatever else PayPal offers shipping wise, it would only do it would only work in the country shipping structure that you're in. And also, the Canadian PayPal tends to want to work in the Canadian dollar versus the US dollar, even though it takes in both and it keeps track of both currencies simultaneously. it tends to want to work in Canadian currency. So I had to set up a new PayPal, and so that was a bit um, of a little journey in itself, because even as I had a new U.S. bank account, I had to link the U.S. bank account to my eBay store, and and by the way, if you do that, if you have the same eBay store, you don't have to go through the money holds that PayPal does for a new user. That's based in eBay, not PayPal, apparently. And so I didn't have to have my money withheld, which was something I was worried about. So they didn't treat me like a new eBay seller, because I had been selling for 3 years already. But one of the things that you have to do is to make sure you're linking your new PayPal account to a bunch of different places in the eBay website. And so what I would suggest is that if you ever have to put a new PayPal address into eBay, that you call eBay and make sure you're doing it in all the places. It seemed like there was 3 or 4 places that you had to change your PayPal email address to make sure everything linked over correctly. And so I wanted to close my other PayPal account, but really you can't until probably a couple of months later, because even after I moved here, I still had returns from my Canadian store, Canadian PayPal, and it would go back to the Canadian PayPal. It would not come to my new PayPal. And so you had to have a credit card still linked. And so I believe after I moved down here, I had something returned, and it pulled from my Canadian PayPal versus pulling from my U.S. PayPal. And so, closing it was and is still kind of a struggle. And so getting the PayPal relinked, relisting all my items. When it came to learning U.S. shipping, I listened to 2 main people on YouTube, Rally Roots and Rockstar Flipper, have 2 great videos, and I'll link them down below, about shipping and how to ship in the U.S. And so I listened to those videos, I took notes down, and so in 2 to 3 days, I had 215 items back up and running. Next, I had to get a Texas tax ID, and we're supposed to pay taxes, and if you're doing a business professionally, then you need to run it professionally. And so you get something like this. It's a Texas sales and use tax permit. And so I went and got my taxpayer number ID, and so I can officially pay and collect sales tax here in Texas. So if I sell anything here in Texas, I collect taxes on it, and that's all through the eBay site. And we should be doing that. You should be paying your taxes. When I opened my store, and I believe officially I opened my store on February 25th, immediately I was getting sales. And that was good news, because there's like the practical things about running a eBay business, but then there's kind of like the mental things. And one of those is a little bit of fear. I mean, are my things going to sell here in the U.S.? Does it still work? Of course it works, but those fears kind of come into your mind. And so I closed my eBay store in Canada on February 14th and reopened 10 days later in the U.S. And so that was kind of the first week process for me. The second week, the first week, we also worked quite a bit on training my brother on how to list on eBay, because my brother helps me out, and I pay him. I pay him $3 per item listed, and so I had to train him. And right now, I have him listing at least 10 items a day, And so when you're training someone who's not familiar with eBay, there's a huge learning curve. It just takes time, and so this is time that I have to take from working on my business and being out and sourcing, where I have to be here, physically be here, and help them learn how to list. I mean, I guess I just took for granted how much you have to learn in order to list on eBay. Things like even just keywords, what a spread collar or a flip cuff is. All those little nuances of listing men's clothing and other things. It just takes time. I had to teach them what a V-neck is compared to a crew neck. It's so there's quite a bit of things that you have to teach someone, and it takes quite a bit of training. So this is week 4 of him listing, and just now he's doing it fast and efficient, and so that's great. I pay him $3 per listed item, and it's going well. And so at 10 items a day, we're keeping a good pace. I'm finding about 10 to 15 items a day. He's listing about 10 items a day. I'm listing some things myself. And so it's going well. We're keeping pace. And so to get him trained, I had about a week or two where I had stopped listing in Canada, but I was still sourcing. So I brought with me 2 totes of items I had sourced but not listed, and so we worked on those items for a few days. Part of the learning experience in the first few weeks is learning where to source. And so I'm in the San Antonio area, and so you've got to learn where the thrift stores are, where the thrift stores that are constantly renewing their supplies, like the Goodwills, or down here they have Texas Thrift Store, a very good store with lots of stuff. So I had to learn where to source, the routes to get there. So that takes time, and so only now in week 4 am I learning like the most efficient routes from one store to the next. In the first few weeks, I also bought a lot of new equipment for the business. I bought a Rollo thermal printer to print shipping labels. I saw a video by Rally Roots, and I saw their printer, and this label printer was just spitting labels out. And so I contacted them on Instagram, and they led me to one of their videos, which is a review of the Rollo printer. And so I bought one on eBay for about $170, and it works great. I ordered labels for it, and so I'm probably going to link to their Rollo review, on the Rally Roots Rollo review, and check it out. It's an awesome printer. It's really quick to set up, and they do a great job reviewing it, so I don't need to rehash that. Bags for wrapping clothes. I bought some clear poly bags just to wrap clothes. We have an impulse sealer, and so we put the shirts or the pants into a plastic bag. We seal it with an impulse sealer, and then we stuff that into whatever package or envelope that we're going to send the items in. Ordered a new backdrop stand and backdrop material for the stand for photos. I bought 2 iPod Touches, one to do videos. I'm using one right now to take videos, but the other one of the things that I found with my brother was that he was using an Android phone, and I know this probably isn't for all Android phones, but his phone just wasn't very quick. The pictures he was taking were very long, and whereas when I use my iPhone, I have an iPhone 6, and when I use my iPhone, like when I take the photo, it's pretty much cropped, and so there's little manipulation of the photo that I have to do after I take it, and it takes good photos. Vibrant colors. It's really clear, and when I did my research, it seemed like the iPod Touch 6 has the same camera. And so I bought two iPod Touches, and he uses it for photos. The other reason is that on his phone, at least on the eBay app on the Android, it didn't seem like you could easily select multiple photos to drop into the eBay draft. And so maybe you have some ideas and clues on how to do that. But I bought two iPod Touches, and they're about I think $170 each, and it allows them access to the eBay app, and they can take photos with the iPod Touch and drop the photos right in. And so once he got the iPod Touch, it started going quicker. And so those are both expenses that I paid for through the company and through the profit I made the first few weeks. And then I had to order U.S. postal supplies. For some reason, it takes a long time for boxes that you order on the USPS website to arrive. And so that's a little bit of a learning curve, because if I wait till I have 2 or 3 boxes left, those boxes will not arrive by the time I need them. And so I have to constantly keep an inventory of the boxes and padded flat rate envelopes. It took a long time for Region A boxes to arrive. I haven't even seen Region B boxes. So, I ordered those 4 weeks ago and they haven't arrived. So there must be some type of back order on those. So now I'm in week 4. I started with 215 items. We're, as of today, 316 items listed. So we've increased the inventory by 100. And that's with, the learning curve my brother's been going through. He is going super fast now, which puts pressure on me to find things, and that's a good thing. I'm selling 3 to 5 items a day. Before it was 1 to 2 items. Now it's 3 to 5 items a day. So I'm constantly going on the USPS website, ordering a pickup so that the mailman comes to our door and picks up the packages. And so the question is after increasing my inventory 100 items, am I making huge profits? And right now the answer is no, because I'm growing my business. And so instead of banking the money and banking the profit, I'm trying to find more and more items. And so instead of keeping the money and putting it in a savings account, putting it somewhere else, I'm putting it back into the business. And like I just kind of listed out a bunch of those expenses, that there's been quite a few expenses since I got here in March. I'm paying my employees. I have 2 employees. One employee steams my clothing that's wrinkled, and so that costs $1.25 per item. And she also sews buttons on, fixes little holes and tears, and then I'm paying my brother as an eBay listing assistant, all contract labor. And so, that costs quite a bit of money. The first week, I paid him $69, and so, and it's only gone up from there as he gets better and better. I paid for little things like reams of paper. I had to get a wireless range extender, a wireless modem, the photo backdrop, which could cost $32. Some supplies for cleaning shoes, because I'm trying to get into shoes. So shoe polish, shoe glue, shoe dressing. Ordered from Amazon. Small poly bags. The actual backdrop to the backdrop stand was $26. Little snacks and food while I'm out thrifting. That's a 15% tax deduction. And so keeping track of all these expenses, I had to buy an office equipment, like an office chair. I bought that from a Goodwill. Software, I purchased a subscription to Mileage Tracker, a Mile IQ app, to track my mileage while I'm driving. I'm buying like I think I recently bought the women's jeans guide that Rake and Profit, and I think it's Professor of Sales, eBay Sales or something. They put those they put that guide out, so I purchased that guide online. So just doing things to reinvest into the business. Um, Equipment like shoe trees and the Rolo printer, just all these different types of the iPod touches were $154 each. Um, so lots of expenses went back into the business. So in March, my total expenses was $1,071, and so I don't imagine in the future I'll have those expenses. And so the actual profit I've made this month so far is $468. Um, and that's actual profit. My total sales so far is 2,842, and of course that includes cost of goods, shipping costs, listing fees. All those things have not been deducted from that. So after all the expenses so far, it's $468 that I've made, and so that's not too bad. I have a little padding, and I hope to get this up to 500 items in 3 months, and that's my goal for now. I think once I hit 500 items, I'll take a week off or so, just to evaluate how sales are going. I imagine and I hope if the trend continues that when I reach 500 items, I'll be selling between 5 and 8 items a day. And I want to take a look at the actual profit once I have 500 items, and just take a little growth break and maybe try to put aside some money instead of constantly reinvesting, and let the inventory soak, so to speak. And so another issue that I'm coming up with now is that now that I'm over 250 items, it looks like I might need to go up a subscription, eBay subscription. I'm currently at the lowest level of eBay store. It looks like I may need to kind of pop that up a notch and go to the next level. And so I'll need to consider that. After my 250 items that I get free every month, I pay 20 cents an item. Anyway, this video again was just to kind of let you know just how I've been opening my business, kind of starting from week 1 to week 4, and I hope to keep everyone updated as the store grows. And thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe as I try to grow this YouTube channel, and I'll talk to you later. Feel free to leave any comments and questions, and I'll try my best to answer those. Thank you.